Have you been listening to the marketing professionals out there or the gurus that talk how important it is to focus on your brand? Well, they're definitely not wrong, and you have to lean into that. But do you have the time to focus on your brand and understand your creative and your messaging while you're running your business?
Welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs, growing 1% everyday podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs podcast, where we get to discuss how to grow 1% every single day in both business and itself. Today, we have Courtney Kehl from Expert Marketing Advisors, where her and her team are diving deep into your brand to understand how to leverage your company and not only represent yourself correctly, but able to grow your business day in and day out. Thank you, Courtney, for joining us today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, Kyle. I appreciate it. Always love to talk shop.
Yes. Yeah. And super excited because you're in a position where I think a lot of people are leaning into emphasizing brand, emphasizing empathy, emphasizing the connection that these businesses are really supposed to have with their customers. And it seems to be a bit lackluster the last, 5 or 10 years. So Courtney, can you give us a breakdown of kind of how you started the company, where this idea of leveraging brand comes in and kind of how you guys do it a little bit different?
Yeah, sure. We started 7+ years ago. It was really organic. We're very, very fortunate where folks were just knocking on our door. And we just, as a team, when I go from one company to the next, I always kind of have you have your army, so to speak, kind of follow behind you. And rather than, diving into just one focus and one company, we started saying yes to everybody and spun off and created our own team and agency of folks. All very seasoned experts in B2B tech and marketing. So yeah, the brand piece is, to your point, has evolved quite a bit. But I do find like what's old is new again. I'm starting to see red, like the colors from 10, 15 years ago are coming back again. The difference now, I think, is really folks want that personal, emotional connection because of technology and because of how inundated we are. People that don't have that like personal, don't feel that connection, so to speak, or don't feel that that personal touch. They're just, it's in one ear and not the other, and it's not going to resonate. So
yeah, with TikTok destroying our attention span, right, and dropping our human beings' general attention span from whatever it was down to a goldfish. It seems like the sales and the quick, fast, buy my stuff and get in your face type advertising structure is diminishing in results because people are just too used to seeing it. Where the emotional based advertising, I always lean into the Harmon Brothers. A great example. If you guys haven't seen the Harmon Brothers before, they're the creators of the Squatty Patty, the Purple Match soap or the Purple Mattress ads, the Dr. Squatch ads. All of those were not only assets that represented brand, but created this level of empathy and emotional tie back to the viewers that not only told them about the brand, but then also convinced them to go buy the product. So I couldn't agree with you more, Courtney. That change in the mentality of how people want to see their creative is definitely evolving. And when you talk about bringing your team, did you have a team of people that were just very, very well-rounded and could help everything that could come about with problems when a business comes digitally? Or did you have a very unique factor of that group of people that you brought together that allowed you to really change the way that you were helping businesses?
yeah, great question. We've had folks that are generalized that have worn the hat of a master of none, but a little jack of all trades. And then we also have what kind of rounds out the team and our offering and how we support companies grow even faster is with our specialized folks. So depending on where they are and what stage they're at and what tools they're using, we insert those experts in that specialized skill set. I always kind of say like the creatives are drastically different than the operational folks. Operational folks are super analytic. Creatives in the design are a little bit more, adding that personality to the brand as an example.
Yeah, two different sides of the brain, right?
Right. Yeah. So it's been, we rolled over from, so I had a company that rolled into Cisco, kind of feel like all roads lead to Cisco at some point. And then the team has already worked with me over the last like 10, 15 years prior to that, going from one company to the next, App Dynamics, and SD-WAN world and cloud networking world. And so, yeah, it was just, we were kind of already pretty well known and then just decided to have a lot more fun working with folks more outside of the politics, outside the internal politics, and just really focused on results and what we love doing.
You made the superstar team. I love that. Yeah. Team USA in the 90s. I love that. It's being able to bring the correlation of people. And as you said, you worked with them for years, huh? This is like a decade of working together.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of them are a little bit newer. I mean, if you're going to learn all the facets of marketing, I think probably Expert Marketing Advisors is a great place to learn because you get your hands on everything. But yeah, there are folks that go all the way back to SEO in the early 2000s, late 1990s. So it's always kind of good to have that background.
Create that conglomeration of human beings and bring them together for that long, create something very unique and special at the Expert Marketing Advisors to allow you to not only be able to have these different perspectives, but have confidence behind them. You know, all those years, all those successes it brings and leads to understanding what's right and what's wrong, finding your prudence, right? So you're working mainly in the tech space. Can you dive into a little bit of how you work with your clients and maybe some uniqueness of what's different about you guys outside of your years of expertise?
Sure, sure. I mean, B2B tech is our wheelhouse. We do have folks that, inquire about B2C support. In those instances, we feel much more comfortable handing them off to partners that have more experience. But B2B tech is, we speak the language inside and out, no matter how technical it might be. And we understand the goals and, increasing valuations and, kind of getting to that acquisition or IPO finish line. Not that that's a finish line, but moment of time. So yeah, the way we work with folks is, day to day, interact as a part of the team. We're an extension of the internal team, and really look to again make those people look good and bring those results. So just kind of put all of that on a silver platter for people.
I love that. And you alluded a little bit before the call that it's not just about the outbound efforts of what you're doing with your clients, but you have a three-prong approach that kind of brings in not just the outbound, but also development of the brand and the understanding of the business. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit further on that?
Sure. So, I mean, we can very easily see like 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, where a company currently is and where they want to go. We can identify when the industry is starting to shift. If it's happening to one of our clients, it's probably happening to most of our clients. So we kind of, I'll say it as we see the wave coming before it hits the shore, which gives us that really unique perspective. But from a three-prong approach, I'm not specifically sure what you're maybe just from the strategy and the brand and the design with the actual tools behind it is altogether.
Yeah. I was diving through the website a little bit and just kind of looking at the criteria you have. And it's beautiful to see that you've launched 17 companies and got 16 of them acquired. Is that correct?
I think so. I lose track. We've launched, well over a dozen. It may be closer to 2 dozen now. And yeah, the acquisition piece, we've got a couple of them that we're positioning to, be prepared for that. And you can see that as well, as far as, when that sort of moment is coming. And yeah, it's great. We've worked with folks that are, really seasoned, and then and just keep doing it again and again, and we just jump from one to the next. Or we work with folks that are, first time founders or first time executives, and kind of help them focus on where they need to have their attention.
For the entrepreneurs and the business owners listening to this right now that are in the tech space, how powerful is that to be able to work with one company that can confidently say that they have helped not only launch these businesses, but also achieve the acquisition, that 100% from 0 to 100 and been there through the process. But Courtney, to be able to understand these businesses, be in the tech space, to develop a company like this, you have to go through some trials and tribulations to find that confidence, right? So do you have maybe a challenge that you guys went through at Expert Marketing Advisor, or maybe you personally went through that changed the way that you did business or would resonate with our listeners here?
Sure, sure. I have one just from this year. So as we help people, grow in their valuation and position to be acquired, we last year said, okay, well, let's go ahead and acquire a company of our own. We need to be a buyer and then a seller, and we need to see both sides of the coin and what are the things that folks look for and what matters. So we had a successful acquisition last year, and then this year we were going to essentially acquire one more company, twice the size, but a third of our size. So it wouldn't be too disruptive to our business, but twice the size of the last acquisition. And M&A to me, I think, is just a really valuable approach if done right. We got right down to the finish line with this other company that we were going to buy, and a week before closing date, we both myself and the other founder pulled out. It wasn't, I guess looking back at it as a lesson learned, there were probably more specific questions that I should have been asking up front. But at the end of the day, I'm sure we're both glad that, it wasn't a square peg round hole and we weren't trying to force something that would have ultimately ended up, more negative than positive. But yeah, when you're looking at, buyers, sellers, all the above, what are the things that are most important? And be sure to ask those questions right out of the gates.
Oh, how powerful is that? To put yourself in the seat of your clients and to understand what the process really looks like in the acquisition side of it. And to, for the listeners out there, it's a huge thing that you just mentioned is that foresight of being able to I have to make sure I'm asking the right questions, and the trials and tribulations that you go through pose that questions in your head for the next acquisition to come. So just constantly embodying Kaizen and showing that constant improvement. I love that. So, you're obviously on the cusp of this tech industry, the development of these tech companies, and everything from the acquisition to the development of the company. Where do you see it going, right? The tech space has been ever evolving. You mentioned a little bit before the call about the ever-changing space of the ads because of AI right now. So I'm curious, where do you see the progression of this in the next, say, 3 years?
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, without a doubt, every single person that hears a question similar to that, where you see things going, anybody that has their finger on the pulse of tech is going to say AI and the impact of AI. I find it to be, about 2 years ago when I started kind of, dabbling in it. And then last year was like, okay, let's get over the fears that one might have. And now we're absolutely leaning in and embracing. Um, it kind of, like, marketing took on a whole new energy for me. Because if you think back to like the internet and when that kind of came out and folks were like, wow, look at the power of this internet. AI is very similar and it's going to change every single thing that we do. And it's just really exciting to watch. So, I mean, I can talk about something specific or, just as a whole, as folks are, I'm sure, hearing about AI all the time and just maybe a little more fearful or not quite sure what to do with it. My best recommendation is just start with, Chat GPT and start with some of the other tools, Claude or whatever, comes across your desk and lean in. A lot of them have free trials. And then as you find them to be, user friendly and of value to you, that's when the adoption comes. Your job is just sped up. It's more about knowledge based workers right now than actual execution.
It's
Or at least
incredible.
2025.
Let's get a little more granular on the tech industry, right? I love the overview of AI, and I couldn't agree more that AI has definitely not only made our jobs a lot more efficient, a lot more, I wouldn't say quicker, but it gives us an opportunity to be much more diverse, right? An understanding of things that we didn't know, right? Our biggest problems are always with what we don't know, and AI gives an open door to understand that knowledge. But in the tech space specifically, right, especially in the B2B tech space, do you see any monumental changes happening in the next 3 years because of AI, what you're seeing in the actual process?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, tech is going to absolutely steer the world. I mean, it's whether it's, data storage, analytics, cloud, healthcare, finance, automotive. I mean, and that's just off the tip of my tongue, but in 3 years from now, it'll be a completely different world than what it is today. That's how it's moving so fast, which again, is super exciting. This year, probably when I say this year, I mean 2025. This next year coming up, there'll probably be a little bit more of the general AI that's getting adoption in the general population, the non-tech folks, and once they start realizing the power of it, it's endless. Behind the scenes, the tech companies are still moving forward, regardless of adoption from the general population.
Understood. So let's talk a little bit about your concept of constant improvement, because I've heard you say it a few times now. It's something that we truly lead into. Kaizen, with the name of the podcast, for the listeners that don't know, is a Japanese business term that means 1% progression in both life and business every single day. So, Courtney, you're obviously on the pulse. You're extremely intelligent. You understand your business. You understand the client space that you're working with. What do you do to find your Kaizen? What are you doing to stay on top of these constant changes? What are you doing to ensure that you can see as you said previously, you can see the wave coming before it actually hits? What do you personally to stay on top of that ball?
Yeah, it's a great question. Actually, I appreciate it. I think the strongest thing you can do as a business owner is empower people around you, empower folks to wear your hat as well, and really kind of put themselves in your shoes. We work really closely with our clients, but I actually am very much set apart. The team does not need me. And we also treat ourselves as if we were a client. So everything that we're recommending to our customers, we've also tried ourselves, and so we've seen the magic of it. So that covers everything from inbound, outbound, ads, social programs, events, physical campaigns, all the above. Um, and so it really helps a lot in moving the needle 1% a day, or however you want to put it. But yeah, we absolutely have a growth trend, which is also what our customers hire us for. If we can't do it ourselves, we shouldn't be doing it for someone else.
In the trenches, learning every day. I love that. Being a part of the process, understanding it, leveraging it for your business first, and then being able to leverage it for your clients. Super, super powerful. Courtney, obviously, Market Expert Advisors has developed a system that, again, is full-fledged. It's with the company from beginning to end. It knows the systems. It knows the process. You're personally in the system itself, in the process of actually helping the clients, being hands-on, or in the process of the acquisition to understand what your clients need more. So you've positioned yourself as a beautiful business owner. I have one more bonus question for you that's based around being a business owner. Have you ever read the book Atlas Shrugged?
No, I think I've heard. I have actually a client that has recommended it to me.
It's a massive book. You must be a very, very, very big reader if you recommend it. It's a massive book, but the power of the book is incredible. And for the listeners out there and yourself that haven't heard or read the book, the concept of it is extremely powerful. It says that business owners, you, Courtney, myself, the business owners listening to this right now, we are the ones that move the world forward. Without business, without operations, an idea is just an idea. When idea becomes operations, then it moves into a system and then it gets executed, it is now a business. So for the world to change, it takes business owners. The book Atlas Shrugs talked about what happens if we as the business owners who put the world on our shoulders just shrugged it off and didn't run business anymore and left the world to be as it is. So that means that what if happens today? If you, me, and all the business owners out there decide we're going to step away from our companies. The restaurants are still there. The home improvement materials are there. The tech is still there, but nobody's running businesses anymore. What would be the first company that you would start tomorrow?
It's definitely going to be AI based. Perhaps maybe the AI tools, learning from each other, pulling from, providing that overlap. So it would allow business owners to step aside. I'm not sure if it's AWS or Google, but I want to say AWS is coming out with a tool, an AI tool, but basically starting January of this next year, it will be working before you even turn your computer on. It will be doing what your day-to-day first hour of every morning is taken up by, just tedious stuff. The actual bot itself and AI will actually be doing it. So when you log on, you're ready to just hit the ground running. So if you were going to take the business owners out of it, another example is like the CFO and the CPA job. Very quickly, we can pump that through an AI accounting tool, and it really removes a large part of the day-to-day that I need to do or my accounting needs to do, and just kind of be a decision maker in the background. But yeah, I think maybe just bringing all of those together and pulling from all those sources to just streamline operations.
Courtney, how much do you love tech?
Well, I guess if you had asked me 5 years ago, I would have been like, just pull out one keyword, insert another keyword, and rinse and repeat. There's an element of that, but again, it's just a super exciting time for anybody that's like starting to get their arms around AI and where it's going. It's going to be a completely different world very quickly, which is kind of cool. That's happening while I'm still alive.
I love that. The reason I brought up the question about love and tech is I've asked that question to so many individuals. Many individuals and got vastly different answers from, I need to open a coffee shop because I can't live without my coffee, or I need to open a gym because if I don't work out, I'm going to go crazy. Or if there's no business, I'm going to go directly into logistics and start moving products because people still need certain attributes. You dove right back into tech. And with your understanding of tech, it should give all the listeners an immense level of confidence that if you are in the tech space and you are looking for support in growing your company, maybe selling your company, or in any position are looking to move a step forward in your career with your tech business, you got to reach out to Courtney at Expert Market Advisors. Expert Marketing Advisors to ensure that you're aligning yourself for success, because this woman obviously knows what she's talking about. The world ends, she's going to go right back into AI. She loves the tech and she's living it every single day. Courtney, if people wanted to connect with you, what would be the easiest way for them to find you?
I mean, through the website is fine. LinkedIn is I get pretty inundated with, or just email success@expertmarketingadvisors.com. We always have our eyes on inbounds, of course, and folks that might want to talk shop. Happy to also send over some best practices or playbooks of sorts, and really just help advise, maybe more so than actually be the hands-on expert. Whatever works for the individual company is first and foremost.
I love that. We're going to correlate all that data and we're going to put it below in the description here so you guys can click below. Make sure you check out that content. If you finish this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And again, if you're in the tech space, I haven't met someone that loves the tech so much and gets so excited about what's in store for AI in that space. Make sure you reach out to Courtney and the team at Expert Marketing Advisors. Courtney, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you sitting down with me.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. This was fun.
Awesome. Listeners, we'll see you on the next one.